Hello, I'm Shahrul Bahyah Kamaruzzaman. I am currently the Deputy Dean for Postgraduate Studies here at faculty, and I'm also a Senior Consultant in Geriatric Medicine from the Department of Medicine. Actually, common story, my parents forced me into it. I actually wanted to be in finance, but they thought no, not cut out for that, a bit more caring, nurturing side of me, so I went for it. And I haven't looked back since, no regrets. What don't I do? Life has been a series of meetings. It's been challenging. I'm in charge of 34, nearly 35 programs, both clinical programs, majority, and non-clinical programs, research programs as well. So it's been a huge learning curve. I'm not a natural born administrator. However, having got experience of both my clinical training plus I also did a postgraduate degree, PhD in epidemiology, so kind of have an understanding of both types of programs, etc. And as many of you all know, we're in the exciting era of our implementation of our national postgraduate medical curriculum. So having come along for the ride for the past 10 years on that, it became a natural fit that I would carry on in this journey. Yeah. To be honest with you, it's not been so much the people, but actually, as you all know, and some of you may know that I'm very inclined to processes, it's our processes. I think a lot of our processes are hampered or challenged by a lot of the red tape, and silos. So lack of communication actually hampers a lot of our work, whether it's on the clinical side, whether it's bridging between hospital and faculty side, and vice versa, of course, whether it's communicating to our, clients, our students, etc. A lot of that bureaucracy really needs to cut across, and which is why I believe in our faculties and all our health entities in trying to get people and organizations together to make sense, to better communicate. I think that's something that's important that we must do. Well, I think what sets us apart, is a natural progression of being the first, and having that burden of responsibility of being the first is also being the best. And being the first also affords us the opportunity to have a head start in a lot of things. Our grants, our people, our practices, our policies, etc., all have primed us to be in this position. What sets us apart, I believe, and I continue to believe, which is why I've stayed, is that we don't give up on our people if we listen. And plus, I believe in my 22 years in University of Malaya, we've always set the tone and set the pace for anything that we do, whether it is in our clinical field or in our research, etc. So keep it up. I think that's important. I have a feeling that with anyone that wants to embark on a postgraduate degree, first know why you're doing it. Also, find out and do as much research as to what it is that you want to be and achieve at the end of that journey. Only then that journey will be made easier. Understand that when you're in Faculty of Medicine, you're not in silos in that particular field. You have the opportunity to actually cross-populate and cross-collaborate your research. And that's an exciting thing to do, especially when you're in the research side of things. That's something that we are working very hard on, and I think it's very important that my portfolio in postgraduate work very closely with Prof Yazid's portfolio in undergraduate and Prof Sanjay's portfolio, as well as Prof Tunku Sharizal's portfolio in student affairs, because all that actually makes the whole journey. Well, right now it's about AI in healthcare. How we intend to bring it forth by way of modules, how we actually try and get trainers from abroad as well as local to actually try and apply how this would look like and how it would ethically be dispersed in our training, learning activities, I think is one of the more exciting ways that I'd like to sort of hopefully oversee and become a big part of, because that's the way of the future. Another thing that one of the later innovations that we will be implementing in our national postgraduate medical curriculum, our clinical programs, is our e-portfolio. Putting together a repository of all our learning and teaching activities in one tailor-made system that can capture, especially training into NSR. NSR certification is important, and it's one new innovation that we have introduced and hopefully implement very well. I don't have any days off. Weekends are full of even meetings and bengkels, etc. But seriously, how I chill out? Well, I'm a cat person. Many of my friends will tell you, and I've got 7 and counting. So I spend a lot of my free time, receiving and giving love to my furry babies. I was a medical student. I remember stupidly, and I trained in Wales, South Wales. So if any of you know South Wales, it's quite rough. Friday nights, New Year's Eve, Christmas are all times when a lot of people who are drunk are brought in to emergency. So I was a very nerdy medical student, so any chance at being on call, I'd be there. So there was a drunk, passed out man who was about 6 feet, was brought in to emergency, and I was interestingly looking over him whilst he was being intubated to do a scan because he was passed out. And when he had the tube down, he woke up, and of course the first thing to go was his legs, and I was right in front of it. So I flew, and at that time I was small enough to fly. So I was kicked in the chest, and I had a couple of rib fractures. So that was memorable. The second most memorable time as a medical student was I was actually in the line of fire of a very bad-tempered surgeon who threw a television set in my direction. Yeah. Nothing to say about surgeons. I didn't do it now because those have been struck off by now. So, yeah, violence. That was memorable. But other than that, yeah. Postgraduate, oh gosh. Meetings with my supervisors always ended up with a walk around London town, speculating on why I'm here, and depression, because I was away from patients and doing epidemiology, which I love now, but only after I got my PhD, which I did in record time, by the way. 3 years, 4 months I submitted. So, and I came back because, of course, clinical service was most important at that time for me.